And in recent years, LA has begun to offer its own bands, formed by its native sons and daughters. Tonight's headliner at the Whiskey is Pastilla, a crew of local kids with a growing following on the club circuit.
Linked to our culture. So basically we listen to Spanish music and it's rock, so it goes better with us.
Talk to the kids standing in line outside the club. You get the sense that rock en Español is the natural style for a generation weaned on eclecticism, but that is also on a quest for identity.
Actually, I like classic rock a lot too, and rock en Español. I just like anything that has complex rhythms and stuff. I play guitar, you know.
Early on, the audience at Rock en Español shows was made up of primarily immigrant kids who'd brought their version of rock to the States, ironically longing for an old country sound that had already been influenced by American rock style. But the Rock en Español audience these days includes plenty of US-born Latino kids. Emilio Morales is the editor of La Banda Elástica magazine, the best known among a slew of publications that cater to the Rock en Español crowd.
We've seen people who were born here in the States who speak better English than Spanish, and they start singing in Spanish.
The members of Pastilla are a case in point. The two brothers who founded the band come from a family that has literally straddled the border. Adrian was born in East LA, but his brother Victor was born in Mexico City and raised in Los Angeles. Growing up in the cultural borderlands, they're fluent in Spanish and English, but they've chosen the Spanish language to represent themselves in the music biz.
In our house, yeah, rock was the main type of music that we listened to. My dad listened to rock and roll in the 60s and 70s and all that, so yeah, pretty much. Of course, we had, you know, all that other stuff in the background. You know, it's
all
like
the Latin,
cumbias, norteñas, and everything else that you could think of. It's part of, you know, the soundtrack to our lives, basically.
But it was rock and roll that touched our hearts, man.
Yeah, rock and roll, you know, saved our souls.
Pastilla describes its sound as bilingual noise pop, or psychedelic punk, a measure of just how complex, and at the same time so effortless, the question of identity can be for a generation that takes the local global paradigm for granted.
I'm bilingual, single, and ready to mingle.
So in Pastilla, we have the case of bicultural kids from East LA performing for an audience similarly split between immigrants and native-born, between Spanish and English speakers. It might sound like postmodern kitsch, or even like a challenge to the cherished American rite of assimilation. But these kids seem to be saying that Rock en Español, pardon the paradox, is American as can be. If you define America through its diversity, that is.
They were born here. And we are seeing that more and more. And if you ask them, what's, with Rock en Español, what makes you like this kind of music? And they say that it's mostly an identity kind of thing.
Rock en Español is also, of course, about business. The managers of clubs in the Sunset Strip started booking Rock en Español acts, first international and later local, in an attempt to reach that burgeoning demographic that everyone is after, the Latino teen and 20-something.
The fact that you see names like Pastilla and Maria Fatal and other local bands headlining venues like the Roxy or the Whiskey, House of Blues, even the Universal Amphitheater, it's a reflection of how Los Angeles has changed, and it reflects the diversity of not only our culture as Latinos, but the greater culture of Los Angeles.
Also on tonight's bill is Niño Austronata, a band from Ensenada. That a Mexican crew of electronica musicians would share the stage with Mexican-American rockers is also a measure of just how much things have changed. Among Latinos in LA, the communication between native-borns and immigrants has long been a tense affair. But here, they're all part of the family, sharing the same dreams.
Back there in Mexico, there weren't a lot of places to gig, and I guess this is a bigger place and more important. It generates a great results for everyone, because everyone wants to hear new sounds from Los Angeles, United States, and United States wants to hear new sounds from Mexico, Latin sounds, percussion.
The connection between the border towns like Tijuana, Mexicali, Ensenada, and LA and San Diego that connection didn't exist before. We had to kind of pursue that connection because historically, many musicians from Latin America, their stuff has been Tijuana before they go to the States or they come to the U.S.
Rock en Español lyrics cover the usual gamut of themes: lost loves, the drudgery of the workplace, the eternal adolescent struggle with rebellion and compromise. But now and again, one finds lyrics that could only have been penned by a Latino kid with a Latino perspective on life. Songs about crossing the border, for example, or police abuse in the barrio. But by and large, Rock en Español is still rock and roll.
They just talk about the same thing, getting laid and getting drunk.
In the meantime, if you're looking for signs of what life will be like later in the 21st century, all you have to do is cruise the strip and watch the names in the marquee lights. For Life and Times Tonight, this is Ruben Martinez.
Oh, sex, drugs, and rock and roll hasn't changed.